Economic crisis forces closure of police stations. CCP's collapse has already begun. Anhui woman dies after finger injury transfer, exposing chaos in mainland hospitals. CCP's crackdown on spies has become insane. A Zhoushan resident, monitoring the weather at home, was fined 5,000. Chinese passport expands visa-free access. Public mocks as wilderness tribe. CCP's noteworthy data sparks concerns. Experts warn public disclosure equals declaration of war against the U.S. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Economic crisis forces closure of police stations. CCP's collapse has already begun. Recently, public security bureaus in Guangdong and Shandong, China, have been reducing the number of local police stations through restructuring and mergers. Scholars analyze that China is facing a severe financial crisis, and the collapse of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, has begun. The Meijiang Sub-Bureau of the Guangdong Meizhou Public Security Bureau has announced the abolition of Wuzhou and Dongshan police stations, effective December 1, transferring their jurisdictions to the North City and Jinshan police stations. Additionally, public security bureaus in Shandong, including Qingdao and Yantai, revealed plans to restructure and merge grassroots police stations, with 9 stations in Qingdao merging from October 23. Analysts link these actions to a severe local debt situation in China, with corrupt local governments relying on land sales and impacted by a real estate collapse. Qing Mo, director of the Department of Diplomacy and International Relations at Tamkang University in Taiwan, states, local governments are corrupt, relying on the sale of land, and now they are impacted by the so-called real estate collapse. So, the debt of local governments is actually very serious. According to data from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, the total local debt of the CCP was 92 trillion yuan last year, accounting for 76% of China's GDP, up from 62.2% in 2019. Lai Jianping, a Master of International Law at China University of Political Science and Law, explains, each locality has its difficulties because your top-level policies are retrogressive, turning left in all directions, leading to a large-scale economic decline. Local fiscal revenues have sharply contracted. If local finances can't even pay salaries, many local finances are on the verge of bankruptcy, and in fact, they are already at the level of bankruptcy. Despite the integration of police stations being seen as a measure to control fiscal expenditures, experts argue that the CCP aims to maintain social control through enforcers and suppressive measures. Lai Jianping notes that decentralization, as outlined in the CCP's 3-year action plan, involves sending forces to engage with the public, potentially leading to increased oppression and social instability. The integration and abolition of police stations could result in unemployment for auxiliary police personnel, creating new social problems. Lai Jianping notes, this group of people is a group in the lower strata of society who only seek personal gain. Since they have been laid off, their livelihoods are uncertain. They may turn from perpetrators to victims. They may go from being a group that suppresses to being suppressed. They may even become a new anti-establishment force or a factor of social instability, and they will fight back. Qing Mo concludes, especially from the collapse of communist regimes in Eastern European countries, this is a part of the complete breakdown of social order, especially this personnel who maintain public order. These civil servants, when added up, will cause the collapse of the regime. This is the beginning of the collapse of the CCP regime. Anhui woman dies after finger injury transfer, exposing chaos in mainland hospitals. On November 15, mainland China's Ben Flo News reported that on the night of October 31, a farmer, while operating a farm machine in Hefei, Anhui province, had her fingers caught and severed. She was initially taken to the Gaoxin branch of Anhui Medical University First Affiliated Hospital, where emergency room doctors contacted her family to transfer her to Anhui Provincial Institute of Wound Repair and Microsurgery's affiliated Traditional Chinese Medicine Orthopedic Hospital for surgery. On November 11, the farmer suddenly died at this hospital. According to the farmer's son, she was 54 years old and in good health. He questioned why the doctor at the public tertiary hospital arranged for her to undergo surgery at a private hospital and wondered if there were financial interests involved. This news report has triggered discussions among netizens. On Tencent's news page, many shared their similar experiences. A netizen from Beijing recounted that when her child had a recent bone fracture, the doctor at the Maternity and Child Health Hospital recommended going to either Peking University Children's Hospital or Zhoushan Hospital. However, due to a shortage of beds at Peking University Children's Hospital, she was advised to consider transferring to a Red Cross orthopedic hospital in Fengtai. The female netizen expressed suspicion about the situation and immediately went to Zhoushan Hospital, where her child received proper treatment. She stated, "I just felt it was unreliable at that time. After seeing this example, it's scary to think about." Another netizen from Beijing shared, "My child accidentally cut his thumb. We went to a children's hospital and they said we needed to be admitted, but there were no available beds. They then deceived me into going to a Red Cross orthopedic hospital in Fengtai, claiming it was a branch of the children's hospital. It was already 11 p.m., and anxious about my child, I went there. After a few stitches costing over 10,000 yuan, the next day, I found out this hospital had no connection with the children's hospital and was just like a community hospital. The wound stitching was just a few hundred yuan. They demanded a 3-day hospital stay, costing over 10,000 yuan. Such hospitals and doctors are darker than coal." On April 19, Mainland China's Interface News quoted an informed doctor saying that Beijing's public hospitals, third-tier hospitals, doctors, and even non-public or Putin-linked hospitals collaborated extensively. They even had their own designated non-public medical institutions. Doctors also applied for multiple licenses to guide patients to the designated non-public medical institutions, while surgical departments used imported materials to attract patients to private hospitals for surgery. CCP's crackdown on spies has become insane. A Zhoushan resident, monitoring the weather at home, was fined 5,000. The Chinese Communist Party has launched a nationwide spy hunt campaign, even including meteorological data in the national security category. According to a report by Zhoushan City's local official media on November 14, the Comprehensive Administrative Law Enforcement Bureau of Putuo District in the city recently handled the so-called Zhoushan's first case of leakage of meteorological data information. The individual involved, Mr. Zhang, installed a meteorological data collection device during the construction of his smart home, allowing residents to check real-time weather information at home through a mobile app when they are away. Local authorities claim that the functionality of the product requires the data collected by the weather station, including temperature, humidity, wind direction, wind speed, air pressure, rainfall, sunshine, etc., to be transmitted to overseas servers via the internet to be realized. Official media stated that directly transmitting meteorological data abroad seriously threatens our country's data information security and national security. However, considering Mr. Zhang's good attitude of admitting his mistake and the minor nature of the situation, they only issued a warning and a fine of 5,000 Chinese yuan. Netizens commented, "Even meteorological data endangers national security? Ridiculous." The bottom line is becoming more and more surreal. China's air pollution is a state secret. On October 31, the WeChat public account of the Chinese Ministry of State Security announced that they had investigated 3,000 illegal foreign-related meteorological detection stations, among which hundreds of stations were exporting meteorological data to foreign official meteorological agencies, posing a threat to national military, food, and climate security, and so on. Analysts suggest that this announcement is just part of the nationwide spy hunt campaign for political manipulation. In August of this year, Gao Guangjuan, a former lecturer at the China University of Public Security and a practicing lawyer in the United States, stated in an interview with New Tang Dynasty's elite forum that people in Europe and the United States generally dislike the Communist Party. Inside China is like a volcano, various potential forces opposing the Communist Party are within it, and the fundamental reason for the CCP's widespread arrests of spies is Xi Jinping's insecurity about himself and the Communist Party's regime. Because he feels insecure, he is arresting spies everywhere, allowing these national security agents and public security personnel to rise to the highest positions. It can be predicted that this situation will become more and more serious in the future. Chinese passport expands visa-free access, public mocks as wilderness tribe. On the 16th, the term China citizens visa-free adds another country trended on social media. The Chinese embassy in Kiribati, under the CCP, announced that starting from the 15th, Chinese citizens with diplomatic, official, or regular passports, valid for more than 6 months, can enter Kiribati visa-free for tourism or short-term visits. The stay is limited to a cumulative total of 90 days within 12 months, with the provision that if a single stay exceeds 30 days, an extension can be applied for, with a maximum extension of 60 days. Kiribati is a Pacific island nation with a land area of 811 square kilometers, an average annual temperature of 30 degrees Celsius, and a population of approximately 120,000. The CCP gaining visa-free treatment for Kiribati sparked mockery from Chinese netizens. First time hearing about this place. Another wilderness tribe? Impressive, haha, truly a great power. Forgive my old age, I can't even find it on the map. According to the population, it's like establishing diplomatic relations with a town. Some netizens questioned whether the CCP would use the hard-earned money of the people to lavish gifts, build bridges and highways for them for free. Give money, give loans, regardless of the life and death of the domestic population. Others sarcastically commented on the authorities. When are we getting visa-free access to the United States, the European Union, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand? Then you can release the news. The Passport Index from Arton Capital, based in Canada, shows that in 2023, out of 199 countries and regions worldwide, the Chinese ordinary passport ranks 118th, Hong Kong ranks 47th, and Macau ranks 64th. Another ranking, the Henley Passport Index based in the UK, shows that in the global passport power rankings, China ranks 66th, Hong Kong ranks 19th, and Macau ranks 34th. Additionally, according to the Visa Index website, China's passport ranks 67th, Hong Kong's passport ranks 20th, and Taiwan's passport ranks 34th. This information indicates that the value of the Chinese passport is much lower than that of Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. CCP's noteworthy data sparks concerns. Experts warn public disclosure equals declaration of war against the U.S. Despite the recent Biden-Xi meeting held in San Francisco, California, USA, where the CCP appeared to adopt a more conciliatory tone, in reality, the CCP has been cautious about the United States, still considering it a long-term adversary in strategic terms. Today, some media outlets reported that a gold analyst suggested that the CCP's actual gold reserves far exceed the official data and may be more than twice the gold reserves of the United States. If the CCP were to disclose this information, it would be equivalent to declaring war on the United States. According to a report by Hong Kong FX 168 Finance on November 15, gold analyst and founder of Flying Frisbee, Dominic Frisbee, stated that the officially disclosed amount of gold held by the CCP differs significantly from the actual amount. He mentioned that the CCP is secretly acquiring large amounts of gold, and its holdings have surpassed those of the United States by more than double. The latest data from the CCP reveals that its central bank continued to purchase gold for the 12th consecutive month in October. In the first 9 months of 2023, state-owned banks bought 181 tons of gold, contributing to a total global central bank gold purchase of 800 tons. As of July, the CCP's estimated gold reserves were 2,113 tons, increasing to 2,215 tons with a recent purchase of 23 tons. This makes China one of the largest gold reserve countries, second only to the Federal Reserve. Gold analyst Dominic Frisbee suggests that the CCP's actual gold holdings may be 10 times the publicly disclosed amount. Frisbee estimates China's gold holdings to be at least 33,000 tons, with half likely being state-owned. If China were to claim having twice the gold reserves of the United States, it could be seen as a declaration of war. The CCP's strategy involves selling U.S. bonds while increasing gold reserves, drawing attention due to potential capital outflows and economic concerns. With geopolitical tensions rising, there are speculations that China might weaponize gold to face possible U.S. sanctions. Scholars propose gold-denominated trade to reduce reliance on the U.S. dollar, while analysts suggest diversification strategies to safeguard against financial vulnerabilities. Julian Jessup, an economist and researcher at the Institute of Economic Affairs, stated, "Some people think this is a political game aimed at raising U.S. interest rates and disrupting the U.S. economy. But this will also hurt China, CCP, which remains a significant holder of U.S. government bonds and will suffer significant losses." In other words, while China's purchase of gold may be aimed at protecting its position from geopolitical risks, the Chinese economy still relies on U.S. government assets, U.S. bonds, to maintain a surplus. Michael Pettis, a finance professor at Peking University's Guanghua School of Management, commented, "China, CCP, may be buying gold to reduce exposure to the U.S. dollar and minimize the risk of sanctions, but the scale is still relatively small." Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.